All right. Well, hello, and I want to welcome you all to Arizona History Happy Hour. Oh, sorry, wrong show. I'm so used to sitting in this chair and doing that. This is our new podcast. This is our second episode, which is LGBTQ Storytime, a community history. I am Marshall Shore, the hip historian, and here is Bev.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
So I am happy to say that this podcast is brought to you through support from Phoenix Office or the Office of Phoenix Arts and Culture, as well as South Mountain Storytelling Institute. So happy you all can join us this evening as we get a chance to chat a little bit about history and so much other stuff. Oh my gosh, we're going to have so much fun tonight. I can hardly wait. Now, I do want to tell you a quick little bit about the Arizona LGBT plus History Project. It is a collaboration of Phoenix Pride, ASU libraries, and myself as we try to figure out or basically capture history and try to preserve as much as we can because, a lot of our history is more oral history. It doesn't wind up in print until the mid 70s. So, what's kind of cool, I have started now. I suggest you either look on Facebook under AZ Gay History or also on Instagram, AZ Gay History. I've started posting photos from the LGBTQ archives at ASU, the BJ Budd collection, posting some of those things. And there's actually been getting a lot of response, talk, feedback. We've identified some folks in a variety of photos, some performers. So it's all kind of fun. So take a look and see what all is going on there. And so, Bev, what's going on with you?
Well, hello, Marshall. It is such a pleasure to be here with you for this storytelling project. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Dr. Bev. They call me Dr. Bev. My name is Dr. Beverly Poellnitz. And I am a storyteller, and I received all of my storytelling training from the South Mountain Institute, Storytelling Institute. And it is a phenomenal way to enjoy life. Let's put it like that. I enjoy so much with these stories at Marshall and the things that we have coming with this grant from the city of Phoenix and to share with our LGBTQ community. Totally excited. And it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful evening that we have tonight. So thank you all for coming. And Marshall, take it away.
All right. So I do want to mention coming up on January 25th, there is a program at the Tempe Library. And basically, it is going to be really kind of looking at some of the current legislation that is anti-drag. And so that's kind of what's going to be covered there. I'm going to be talking about some of the drag history in Arizona. And so that should be quite an interesting program. They will be recording it, and I think it'll be accessible off their website in case you can't get there to the program. It'll be a really good program. And so, we have such an amazing guest. As I try to do too many things, I'm like trying to move my mouse around and talk and move things around. So, oh my gosh. So I am so excited to bring on my friend, Sister Navi Ho. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh my gosh, you are looking fabulous this evening.
Oh, just a little spackle, a little glitter. It all works.
Oh, not just a little glitter. There's a lot of glitter.
The glitter hides the mistakes, so that's always good. So just letting you know.
Ah, that's the secret.
Yes.
All right. So for folks that don't know much about you, I know you have been out in the community for quite some time. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Sister Navi Ho. I'm with the Grand Canyon Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. which is a nonprofit organization that goes out to the community to spread love and joy. It expiates stigmatic guilt. If you don't know what stigmatic guilt is, it's the guilt that society puts on you for being who you are. And being perpetually indulgence, we want you to indulge in yourself and be proud of yourself and just be you and be beautiful and wonderful. And so that's the organization that I'm with. I have been, I lived here all my life in Phoenix. Went to school at North High, so hello Mustangs, if anybody's out there. I grew up here, born and raised here. I am Navajo, hence the name Sister Navi Ho. My mother and father are from up north on the reservation. My clans are Kizasana, which is many goats, and Maideshkishni, which is Coyote Path. And my mom is from Tuba City, Arizona, or Tonalea area, Red Lake, and my dad is from White Cone, Arizona. So, and then they had me. They had no idea I was going to be wearing clown makeup and glitter and spackle and everything else. But I joined the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence in 2010. So I was just like everybody else, just being in part of the community, not sure how I can be helpful, not only to my native LGBT Two-Spirit community, but also the community at large. And I found these wonderful looking, scary sometimes, white face, white makeup, clown makeup. I was like, what are they? So, and it just, lo and behold, I had friends that have joined the organization, and they were like, you should join this organization. Being Native American, we don't have anybody that's Native American in our group. So this would be something, a milestone for us to have somebody, a person of color, be part of our group. And so when I started, that's kind of where it all began, in 2010.
So what is the reason for the white face?
Well, there's many stories. I'll tell you the story that I learned growing up as a nunling. In 1970,
Nunling?
Yes, we called the new recruits, the junior members, we called them nunlings. So because you're becoming a nun, it just seemed fitting, kind of like some kind of nunling, right? But the story that I learned was the sisters started, their organization is worldwide, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, and it started in 1979 in San Francisco. And it was these guys that just had nuns costumes, that they were part of the Sound of Music back in like Wisconsin, Minnesota area, and they moved to San Francisco, and they decided, hey, let's go out to the Castro and let's wear these nun outfits that we have from the Sound of Music. So they donned the habits and went out to Castro. And during that time was the whole, the start of the epidemic, the AIDS epidemic. And, the community was hurting. And seeing these wonderful, glittery, sparkly people come out, it was amazing. And so the white face story was one of the sisters, one of the founding sisters, was also a like an escort, call boy, whatever. And so he didn't want his clients to know that he dresses in drag or does drag. So he donned the white face, put on a bunch of, other stuff too. And it kept his secular self, his identity, from being known. And that's kind of where one of the stories of where the white face came from.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's what I heard as it was done to just kind of protect people's identity, because you could get fired from your job.
Right.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so it was really just to kind of help protect folks so they could go out and talk to folks, especially at the beginning of the pandemic. I mean, at the HIV/AIDS pandemic, or back when it was called GRID, before, or even before that, when nobody knew what it was, but trying to just educate folks. Because I think we're the sisters, one of the first groups to actually start doing education.
Yes, Yes, the sisters are the ones that started. So if you ever see safe sex kits, one of the sisters there in San Francisco started that safe sex kits and started handing out lube and condoms and showing people how to protect themselves against this disease. And you know, they called them, I think that's what they called them, was safe sex kits. But they would go out into the community, do the ministry, and you know, hand out condoms and tell people to be safe. And that's kind of, that was one of the things. And many of the fundraisings that happened during that time in the 80s was all done by the sisters there in San Francisco, and they started to do rallies and fundraisers just to help out, you know, different people that were hurting. And from what I heard, there was also in many of the hospitals, many of the patients who were affected by HIV and AIDS, nobody wanted to see them. Nobody wanted to go out to be, you know, to love them and care for them because they were afraid. But the sisters would go there and sit with them and talk with them and be with them, and definitely was showing that sister love to the community.
Well, so what kind of events do the sisters hold here in the Valley?
Well, we hold a lot of events. Well, of course, with the pandemic, it kind of really, it kind of definitely moved everything to virtual. But before the pandemic, we would do a lot of events. Like one of the events is called the Witches Ball that happens in October. And it's from Sister Very Delicious. And it was actually her novice project. And she raises money for sometimes for the children's hospital, and also different organizations that have to do with youth. And she gathers toys. That's one of them. We've done a lot of different drag shows. I know I did my novice project for the Navajo AIDS Network, which at that time, that was what I wanted to focus on, was how HIV and AIDS is affecting the reservations. And I had no idea before starting with the sisters that HIV and AIDS was on the reservation. I obviously knew that it was everywhere, but I didn't know how it affected my people. So that allowed me to get educated and be more an advocate for everybody being tested. And another one is called Absolution. And basically, if you ever get a chance to go to an absolution, it's where you confess your sins and you can get your absolutions taken away, and you get either whatever, it's a whip, a spank, you know, flogged, whatever. And yeah, and then you do that. And but there was many different kinds of events, whether it's car washes, you know, rummage sales, anything to really help the community, you know, when needed, definitely.
Wow, Bev, I think you might need to go to confess some of your sins. I mean, you just came back from Vegas, so who knows what kind of trouble you got in there. But you know, I mean, what they say is what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So
Yeah, I think, I probably do need to go to that. But like you say, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Even some of the pictures and the showgirls, I mean, hey.
Well, and if people do want to find out some of the events the sisters are doing, here you can kind of track them. Here is their website, as well as you can follow them on Instagram and even Twitter. So you can see what events, I mean, because now the world's opening up a little bit. I know events are starting to happen again. So you can go track down the sisters. And because it's, I mean, you guys do so many fun events that are educational, but also enlightening and uplifting.
Yes, definitely. We definitely do a lot of our ministry to our youth, because a lot of them don't have anybody to go to. So we have went to, you know, like 1 in 10, Mulligan's Manor, and different organizations that are here, and explain who we are, because, you know, like what this program is about history, everything, like you were saying, is verbal. And speaking about the sisters back when, you know, we try to educate people that, yeah, you know, there was a lot of things that, you know, well, I can say me, as older kids, we went through and what we did, and just to see the history of just the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence. I know there's many other kind of organizations out there too, but just to see how they were there, they fought, they stood up, they, everything that could be thrown at them, they were there, and it's all on YouTube. There's a lot of videos and a lot of documentaries about the sisters.
Indeed. Now you mentioned, so you mentioned that you're Navajo.
Mm-hmm.
But you also mentioned a word, two-spirit.
Correct.
What does that mean?
Well, two-spirit is a term that has been, has came about because, everybody maybe would have said that, gay people, lesbian people, everybody, every color of the rainbow has been around forever, whether or not it is documented or not. And two-spirit was those people in the Native communities, whether it's the tribe or the villages or anything like that, that were considered to be a being of both spirits, whether it's feminine or whether it's masculine. They were the spirits of both into one person. So I know that in the Navajo culture and traditions, Nagle is considered to be a two-spirit person. And I never knew such things existed. And there was a documentary, and not recently, probably back in 2000, maybe. There was a documentary in regards to an individual that was two-spirit that was killed in Colorado. I believe his name was Freddie Martinez. And it was a great documentary that talked about how the two-spirit people were held to a high standard in their community. They were considered shamans. They were considered people that would help relationships. They were, I would think they were like what a counselor is now. I mean, they were there to help out anywhere in their community they needed. So for instance, if somebody was to get killed while doing battle or do anything like that, they would step in to help them, the mother. They would step in to help them and be there to help their family grow. And it's vice versa, whether it's in the female, the female side, that's what they would do. They would step in and help raise kids. They would take care of kids. They would educate the kids. I mean, it was just amazing to hear that such a person existed in my Navajo culture. And now, as I'm learning, it's in lots of cultures, not just Native American cultures. It's in a lot of cultures that are now speaking out. And with this word two-spirit, it is definitely embodying that person. And that's what I consider myself, as a two-spirit person.
How did you come to that revelation or that understanding of yourself?
In that documentary about two-spirit, there was a guy that spoke about how he was always very close to his grandmother. His grandmother always kept him close, and anybody that messed with him, the grandmother would protect him no matter what. And he was always close. He would help out with the cleaning. He would help out with the butchering. He would help out with many of the things that you would in a society where they think that that's just a woman's job. And it was just amazing to hear that, because that's what happened to me. My grandma would coddle me and keep me near and always teach me things, teach me how to do this. And, and anybody that messed with me, you don't want to mess with my grandma. She would come after you and tell you to leave me alone. Because I mean, as a child, we tease, and my family used to tease me a lot and call me different names. My grandmother would get very angry, but I never understood that. I just thought I was the favorite. It never really
were the favorite,
right? Well, there would be some cousins that disagree, but and it was interesting to see that and see how in the two spirit story that that's what a grandmother did. That's what your masana did, was to protect you and care for you, because you were a powerful being. You were an amazing being that was going to help out in many different ways. And so once I found out that, you know, fortunately, I didn't find this out till after she passed away, but it took me back to, like, I was that person. I'm this being. I'm this Nagle. I'm this amazing person. Now let me find out what this is about. And as I got to speak with many different people in the community, I was just amazed that, wow, you know what? I never thought of myself as a special person growing up, but I am. I am a two-spirit person. I'm proud to be a two-spirit person. And I share that with people and let them know that, you know, you are special no matter what you are and who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like grandmothers, I mean, my grandmother, I mean, you know, growing up, I mean, I grew up in a little tiny farm town in Indiana, like 25 people. And, you know, I guess, and pretty much, I guess I was the only gay in the village. And my grandparents at one point sold their house and bought a travel trailer. And so they would summer in Indiana close by. And the beauty of that was, you know, going through those delightful teen years as you're trying to figure yourself out. I would be at odds with my parents, mainly my dad, and would go for that unconditional love that was just like, you know, we're happy you're here. You want a cup of coffee? You want a donut? What do you want? And it was just like, we're just happy you're here. Didn't ask why I was there, didn't ask what was going on, but really created that safe space for me to just exist.
Right.
And that was so necessary for my own well-being, that it's like, you know, they probably saved a lot of wear and tear on the entire family just by being there for that. Bev, did you have anybody watching out for you?
Actually, it's kind of funny. It's my dad.
Oh.
My dad looked out for me. I was, out of 6 children, I was the one he took along with him when he went out to do his business deals. My father was an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Oh, that's where you get your business sense from.
He taught me at a very young age how to conduct business. And he wouldn't let anybody in the family mess with me or tease me or anything like that. So yeah, he looked out for me. My dad, were the other family members, every chance they would get, they would harass me and tease me because I was considered to be the one who was different. Whatever different meant, I was the strange one. And so I feel that I have always been two-spirited also. And so when I was presented with you being here, sister, I was so excited to hear more about two-spirited, and also about the novice project. How do you choose your projects, and how long were you wanting to do the project that you chose to do? How did you choose it?
Well, let me give you a little background on, like, the process of becoming a sister. So you reach out to the house, and like I said, there's many houses all over the place. And it was interesting that you said you were in Vegas. There is a house in Vegas. They're called the Sin City Sisters. One of my favorite sisters there is Sissy Lucy, but you don't want to get on her bad side because she carries around a paddle. But she does a lot of absolution and helps, you know, people get on the good side of things. But the process of becoming a sister is, you first start out as an aspirant, and you're aspiring to be a sister. So you hear the calling, is what we say. And once you do that, at least in our house, you do that for 2 months. Once you've done with that, then you become a postulant. And as a postulant, you start getting the look of being a sister. So you'll wear a black dress, you wear a white bib that goes around you, and you have a little crown. I call it a little tiara. And basically you wear a white veil. Your makeup, you start getting to wear the makeup, so the white face comes into play, but you're only allowed 2 inches of color on your eyes, and your lips stay white because you're still learning. You can't really speak for the organization. You can't really tell, promise things and things like that. So you're just still learning. Um, After 4 months of that, you become a novice. And in this time, your goals of being a novice is 6 months, and also you have to do a community project. It could be a fundraiser, it could be a talking circle, it could be where you go out to the community and just help out wherever needed. It doesn't always have to be anything that requires money. It's more of just being that presence in the community. And after that, then you become a fully professed sister. You get to wear the colored veils. Of course, the bib goes away, and you get to do what you need to do in the community. And the whole process takes about a year. And so far, I think right now we have 14 active sisters. At one time, we had 26 to 30 active sisters. Many of the individuals in our group come from all different races, come from all different ethnicities, and we're open to everybody. If you feel the calling and you want to do something special and want to do something different and want to do something with a little glitter, this is the calling that you hear. So you were asking me about my project. And when did it start? I knew that when I started with the Sisters Perpetual Indulgence, I knew my focus was going to be with youth, and I knew my focus was going to be into my Native community. I didn't know how, I didn't know what. Also, I didn't know what the sisters really did. Like, what were they about? I seen them walk around and do things and help out, but I didn't understand the real story. So when I started to do my own research and find out what the sisters did, how they became about, what they've been doing, all over the world, the AIDS epidemic and HIV has always been something that I always wondered about, and how that affected my community. How does it affect on the reservation? Yes, there's other things that are factors, but what is like what does the elders think? Because this is something that just came about in 1978, 79. What does the elders think? And how are they feeling about that kind of stuff? And how are the ones that are my age, how are they being more effective in the community? And so when I started to do the research, I wanted to find an organization that I wanted to do a fundraiser for. I wanted to do a drag show. I definitely love doing drag. I love doing performing and, doing that for my community. And I was researching, and I knew that I wanted to do something that could help all natives that are here in Arizona. How can that be? What's going to be there? Who can I go to? And as I started to look, I noticed that there was no organization that was really helping our LGBT Native community, except for the Phoenix Indian Center or Native Health or anything like that, but they weren't focusing on LGBT community. Mm-hmm. So when I started to use the Google, I put in there Navajo AIDS LGBT, and it came up with an organization that was out in Chinle, called the Navajo AIDS Network, and it talked about how they are advocating and promoting that you get tested and know your status and know how it is, and translate everything that we have been seeing about HIV and AIDS into Navajo so that others can understand it that don't speak English, and that they can get tested. And it was a very great organization. Unfortunately, it didn't last long. However, there was many other those people that were part of that have branched out to other organizations there and have continued to do their work that I remember them for. So it was definitely a process to find out what I wanted to do, how I wanted to do, how did I want to make Navi Ho known? It was something that I was thinking about. How can I do greatness for my community and my people? And that was kind of my focus.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So if someone wanted to support your group, not necessarily be a sister, but definitely do activities that's going to support your group and also, support the community. How would someone get involved with something like that?
Like Marsha was showing the website, go to the website. There is a link there on the website that says we would like sisters to come. We would like sisters to talk. We would like sisters to be there. There's many times that, we are called upon to come to a community, come to talk, come to express who we are, not only who we are, but what we do. And then we have people that are just like, I want to help you. How can I help you? And then we have that discussion. We invite them to our general meetings. We talk with the sisters. We find out what they're wanting to do and how we can collaborate with them. So there is a link on our website, and that goes to our mistress of evangelism, and they're the ones that share it with our sisters.
Now, I've heard you talk about the sisters. I have not once heard you mention any type of religion or anything that has to do spirituality, religion, or any denomination or anything like that. So people of all walks, all religions, all nationalities, all are welcome.
Correct. That is absolutely correct. Yeah. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence has the conference of, from what I feel about what we are as sisters, is yes, we take our look from the nuns of the Catholic Church. However, I've always felt that the nuns of the Catholic Church are the backbone and the reason why the Catholic Church is still going. They're the hard workers. They're the ones that help, the community and are always there. And that's what I look at the sisters about. I look at them as being there to help. We're here to help you better yourselves and help you with what you need. And yeah, their organization is not any religious organization. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. We take pride in what they do and turn it around and help our community.
It's amazing. It's truly amazing. I thank you for what you've done for the community, for our community.
You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome.
Well, and helping to educate so many folks. So you mentioned language. So what language do the Navajo speak?
The Navajos speak Diné is what it is called. And in Diné, or it's spelled, it looks like it's saying dine. People will say dine, but it is Diné, and it is the language of the people. And that's what Diné means, is the people.
Do you speak the language?
I don't fluently speak it, but I am learning. And that is another thing that, that has got me, more involved, is that I don't know the language. Unfortunately, I was one of those stubborn kids, even though I was the favorite. I was one of the kids that didn't want to learn the language, even though my mom, my dad, and everybody would, tell me you need to learn the language. Mm-hmm. And I have been taking classes at the Phoenix Indian Center. I have been there's a Rosetta Stone that has the Navajo language on there. I have that, and I've been using it. It is very a complex language, but it is very interesting. And, I can, certain words that I can say or certain phrases I can say, it's very fun to talk to my mom and actually speak the language, and she is like overwhelmingly proud that I'm actually doing it. Right. And she's like, you need to tell your sisters to do this. But it's very, I love it because it allows me to connect more deeply with my people.
Great, wonderful.
Well, and with that language, you had the Navajo code talkers back in World War II that actually were brought in to help translate into a secret code language that nobody could figure it out. And so, I know across Arizona, there are a variety of kind of monuments or things that celebrate those Navajo code talkers. In fact, actually right there on Central, and I think it's Central and Thomas, there's a big statue of for the Navajo code talkers.
That is true. Yes. Yeah.
And so I know you are getting ready to go to a powwow.
Correct. Yes. The Bay Area in San Francisco, Bates is what they're called, is they're having a Two-Spirit powwow. And it's one of the biggest Two-Spirit powwows that I've known, that it's been going on for so long that, and it's very, from what I'm watching, because I never went, and from what I'm seeing is that it is definitely supported by the community, not only just the Native community, but everybody is planning on attending. And I'm so excited because, back in 2018 is when I first found out about Bates Powwow. And I was like, I want to go. And then COVID hit and that kind of just stopped everything. I have attended they think they did 2 of the powwows virtually, and I got to attend it via that way. However, this time at the beginning of February, I think it's February 3rd or 4th, which is the Saturday, is happening in San Francisco, down on the wharf, Fisherman's Wharf. There is going to be a Two-Spirit powwow, and it's open to the public. And yeah, definitely, it's a wonderful time to introduce yourself if you haven't been introduced in what a powwow is and what does it mean to the people. It's definitely a social gathering of music, dances, beautiful regalia, and just being who we are and embracing who we are.
Does anything like that happen in Arizona?
Yes, actually, there is going to be a Two-Spirit powwow that's happening April 15th, and this is the 3rd annual. And actually, I was a part of an organization that PFLAG. Many people know what PFLAG is. However, we had a Native PFLAG, and this Native PFLAG was the one that actually started and kicked off this, bringing the Two-Spirit powwow to the community, and worked with South Mountain Community College in doing that. And of course, like COVID kind of did that too, where it kind of postponed everything. So we are so glad to bring it back, and that many of our community, has a place to go to show their pride and who they are.
So yeah, so that Two-Spirit powwow is happening at South Mountain Community College. It is Saturday, April 15th.
Correct.
So
yeah,
so
it
that's
was supposed
really
to be
cool.
It was supposed to be next month. Unfortunately, they decided to move it because it conflicted with Super Bowl. So they figured it was probably best to move it to April. It's a little bit cooler, not necessarily too hot, but it is definitely always a fun time, and many different vendors will be there to support the Native vendors that make beautiful jewelry, such as these earrings. And it's just a fun time just to watch. If you've never been to a powwow, this is absolutely free, and bring your family and bring your chairs and just listen and enjoy and just take it all in.
I mean, it's like in the past, it's like the other ones. It's like, I mean, the music has been beautiful, and seeing how people have incorporated kind of the rainbow colors into traditional community garments has been really kind of fascinating.
Correct. Yes. I mean, just knowing, like the creation story with the Navajos and how the rainbow is depicted in many other stories, and just how we are all part of this rainbow. We make up this rainbow And just to have it being flown there and seeing, I would have never have thought, going to powwows when I was younger, ever thought of seeing an LGBT two-spirit person there at a powwow and being their authentic self. And just to be there and be on ground and listen to the music, it is a very moving experience. And every time I hear powwow music being played or powwow music being sung, I get very emotional. I mean, good thing I wear, waterproof eyeliner and all that good stuff, but it's a very emotional. It hits me every time, and that's what I told one of the coordinators for the Bates powwow in a couple of weeks in San Francisco. Is I go, once I hear the music, I'm going to be bawling because it brings me back to family connections with my community, and it reminds me that I am somebody in my community. It reminds me that I am a two-spirit person, and I should be proud of who I am, and I am proud of who I am. So it's definitely, the music definitely gets me every time.
When also it's like, and going to this two-spirit powwow here was the age of the folks that participating. I mean, it was like you had senior members of the community there and younger members. It was so inclusive of everybody. And that was really one of the beautiful things that I really appreciate about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. One of the people that I got a chance to meet while being involved in Two-Spirit is, his name is Clyde Hall. And he was actually one of the members that created the word Two-Spirit in California and started that back in the 80s. And he is just an amazing person. I absolutely adore him and love him very much. He's definitely somebody if I ever have questions in regards to Two-Spirit, I always go to him. But yeah, you're right. The age range is from the youngest to the oldest, and I think that just goes for any powwow that you may see. The fact that it's just the music that brings the community together.
Absolutely.
Well, and I love, like we were talking, like the Indian Center now has, I'm going to mispronounce it, Dene, not Dene, Dana?
Yeah, you said it right, Dene.
Dene? Okay. So, but I mean, we were also talking a little earlier about how they do a variety of other activities to just kind of help raise awareness of some of the culture. Like the fact that I went to the shoe game last week.
Right.
That was a lot of fun.
I am loving exactly what I would think the Phoenix Indian Center is. It's to showcase all Native American tribes and tradition and cultures, and it allows the community to be involved in it. And I'm so happy that you were able to attend the shoe game. We were talking earlier, it's something that I never knew existed. I knew there was a lot of stories and games that happened in the winter, but I didn't know what they were. But to see that and be a part of that, whether it's in person or virtual, it's definitely an amazing gift to not only those that don't really know the culture that much, but also those that are, outside the tribe and are able to understand. These are the things that kept us busy. These are the things that we did. These are the things that are traditional in our community and very sacred. And, I think that's a beautiful thing that the Phoenix Indian Center is doing.
Right. And that was the beautiful thing was, I mean, no one batted an eye when I walked into the tent. It was just kind of like, there's a chair, sit down, enjoy yourself, join the group, and have some fun.
I'm surprised they didn't give you a bowl of something and give you fried bread.
There was a food truck, so there was food around. So
because that's another thing.
But that was really, people didn't want to leave the game to go get the food because then they would have left the game. Yeah. So
always there's going to be food around, and always there's going to be someone that just gives you food, because that's what we do. That's I know that in my family, that's what we do. You come over to say hi, and all of a sudden they have a full course dinner ready for you. And that was the intention. It was just, that's something that we were taught. So yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
That is so, and so that's where you're taking language classes.
Yeah, I did an 8-week course with them, and it was very, very, very hard. I mean, very. From what I was remembering, I just thought we were going to learn words, and I thought we were just going to put them together. No, the guy that taught the class, Dr. Andy Nez, who is actually now one of the new council delegates on the Navajo reservation. He sat there. He started with the vowels and the consonant. I mean, basically what we've all learned and how to speak, and going through school. And it's very complex. And I definitely understand why the code talkers were used, because it was very hard language to learn. But it's every time I speak it, every time I see something in it, it just makes me more aware that I am who I am, and this is beautiful.
And bringing that language with you. I mean, because, we are all only here because of the shoulders of so many folks that we are standing on, whether they know it or not. And we may not know their story, but they have helped us get all where we are now.
Correct. Definitely.
So okay. So the new year just passed. Are you a resolutions person? Did you make any resolutions?
Well, one of the resolutions that I do make every year that I always break, but I've been very good about it so far, is that, on Facebook, it tells you to say happy birthday to people, and it gives you the reminder to say happy birthday. I've actually been going on every day and saying happy birthday. But as far as like resolutions, I have not, just to become more my authentic self is what I'm continuing to do. And finding out more about Two-Spirit. There is an international Two-Spirit gathering that's going to be happening in July, and I think it was in Halifax, Canada, or Nova Scotia, Canada. And I'm looking forward to that, because I actually got a chance, because it was one of my bucket lists, to attend the Montana Two-Spirit Society gathering last August in Montana. And it was always something that I knew about too, but I never got a chance to do. And I put myself on a plane and I went to this gathering, and it was the most amazing gathering in the world, because I got to meet many different people from different tribes who are Two-Spirit, and find out what their Two-Spirit stories are about, and their struggles, and their understanding of what it means to be a Two-Spirit Native in the community and living in our world right now. And so to know that there's now an international something going on, I'm just over ecstatic that is something that is on my list to do. And just be more involved in my community is what I want to do.
That's really cool. And Bev, what about you? Are you a resolutions person?
Yes, but I do not make resolutions about food anymore. No more of that. Actually, my resolution is more to be true to myself, and to learn to say no. Not learn to say no, but to say no, and to do what I want to do or feel that is going to be best for me. Because, like many other people, we tend to want to please others. And so, even if we might not want to do something, we'll say, yes, okay, I'll do it. When really we want to say, hell no, I don't want to do that. And so, I'm working with myself to be able to say no. And however the other person takes it, that's on them. That's not on me. I'm being true to me, because me doesn't want to do it. So I'm going to say I don't want to do it. And that's a difficult thing to do. For me, it's difficult. But however, I've been kind of successful. When I think about the weekend in Las Vegas, I spent it with my sister and my nephew from Boston. And then there was my daughter and grands, and we were all there, but one was in a house and one was in a hotel. And I needed to go along with the group. And so even if it was something that I didn't feel I wanted to do, I went along with the group to do it. However, I can say there was a couple of times that I was asked to do something and I says, no, I'm not doing it. They got mad at me, but I'm not doing it. I was just like, no, I am not doing that. And so finally they gave up and they understood that I didn't want to do it. So I'm not going to do it. And they stopped pressuring me to do it. And it wasn't a big deal. It was just to go outside, but it was cold. It was cold, but there was a time where I would have gone anyway, just to quiet everybody down. And then I would have been miserable. And so I was like, no, I'm not doing it. No. So I felt good about that, even though some of the things I gave in on, but I felt good about that.
Okay. Well, at least you held your ground on some of those things. You didn't just completely give everything away.
Exactly. And then that's a part of our growing, isn't it? Mm-hmm. To be able to live in a society with people, get along with people, and still love and get along with yourself. And that's why in this particular evening, listening to the conversation tonight, I'm just overwhelmed with joy because I love what you're doing, sister. I love what you're doing. I love how you're helping the community. I have been unaware of what it is that you all do. So very happy that you came here and told me, because down the road, there may be some things that I can do to help support your group, to help give back to the community. And the more aware we can make each other, the more we can make each other aware of the different things that we do, the more we can support and help each other. And so that's very important for our LGBTQ community, is that sharing and that loving and that caring about each other. And so I thank you so much for coming on and sharing. I'm so happy to hear about what you do. And you'll be seeing a lot more of me.
Awesome.
Nice. I'll drag you to some of those events. Maybe we'll get Absolutely. You. Perfect. So yeah, I'm not really a resolutions type of person. I've learned in the past, it's like, behavior based on like a date. I'm going to change my behavior as of now. It never works. And so, it was like, with sitting around at home a lot, it was like, I did join a new gym so that I can go hopefully lose some of the COVID-15 or whatever number you want to add to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I think I'm just trying to, now that there's more and more events, it's too easy to just kind of sit at home. That was one of the things I went out to the shoe game. I was like, I like putting myself outside of my comfort zone of going and doing things that I know nothing about. And so that was the fun of it. And so hopefully seeing more things happening throughout the coming year, getting a chance to do some of those things. And just going and explore. As we get to learn more about each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think that's a great idea. Definitely that's something that I started last year with, going into pageants and doing that kind of stuff that I never thought I would ever do. I think I'm clearing a lot of stuff out of my bucket list, but, going for the America pageants, going for Miss Gay Pride, doing a prelim, but being my authentic Native self. Dressing in my traditional garb, dressing in, doing my traditional talents and things like that, and sticking to that and not going with what the mainstream is. I think that's a lot of the feedback that I get back, is that they're like, you are so strong with your culture, and that's a beautiful thing. And I embrace you for doing that. And, I got that from a lot of contestants, a lot of judges, a lot of people. And it made me very proud to know that, I am an individual who who embraces their culture, the tradition, and but flips it on the side and does it in a drag formation. And I think that's very, very ballsy, I guess, sometimes, because I never thought I could do this. I never thought I could wear a dress. I never thought I could wear a wig. I never thought I can wear, of course, you have to wear a bra during, just performances. Never in my, if you would have talked to me back in when I graduated high school that I would be doing this, no way. I've always said that I wanted to go to my reunion dressed in drag because I'd be like, "Hi, don't you remember me?" And but it's amazing that this was the call. I feel that this was my calling. This is my calling to help my community, and in turn, it helped me too. It helped me, be more productive and more helpful. And I feel that's also the reason why I got a bachelor's in psychology, and looking towards to possibly getting a master's in psychology. I've always had that feeling that I was here to help. And I think that I feel that came from my grandmas and my mom, and the females in my family, that we all do that. And I feel that because of their teachings I'm able to help others with that too. And it's very beautiful thing. And definitely it's a very beautiful thing. But again, never in my life that I thought I'd be going to the store and buying makeup and doing all this kind of stuff and buying dresses and having making the lady at Lane Bryant feel uncomfortable because she has to measure my bust. You know what? I always laughed at it because I told her that time we went to Lane Bryant's and I had to get a new bra. And she was like, I go, just do it. I go, and then when we're done and we go, you see, I may be the first guy that you actually had to measure his bust, but you know what? There will always be more. There'll always be somebody different that you will interact with, and I helped you with that. To be more supporting and understanding of that person. So, yeah, I always find some kind of light in everything that I do, even though it makes me feel uncomfortable. There's always a reason.
Right. So thank you so much, Sister Navi Ho, for coming on and sharing so much about yourself.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I know we've been trying to do this for a while.
We've been talking about this for quite some time, so I'm glad we were able to make it happen. And it's so funny because I was really pushing before. It was like back when I thought the powwow was going to happen in February, but now that's not going to happen until
April 15th.
April 15th. So yeah. So hopefully we'll see a lot of folks down there. I know I'm going to be down there. I think it'll be a lot of fun to see people coming together who we haven't seen in quite some time.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a beautiful thing. So
indeed. Well, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your night.
Yes.
Thank you. You both have been. It's been a wonderful time here, and just to talk and listen to your stories, and not only listen to me blab, but it was definitely a great time to communicate with somebody, people that I don't know, and person that sees this maybe have more questions or maybe questions about themselves. I'm always here. I'm on all social medias. I even do the dances on TikTok. So you can
that's right. I have seen you talk about doing TikTok.
Yeah, I do TikToks. I did one dance, but I haven't done more, even though I should probably do some more. But of course, like I said, I'll be going to the Bates powwow in San Francisco. I will be posting a lot about my experience there, so I'm very excited to be a part of that.
So what is your TikTok name so I can go see your dances? It's Sister Navi Ho?
I believe it's Eddie, Navi Ho, George, all one together. Okay. Basically, if you can find me on Facebook under Navi Ho, it's the same name under TikTok. I didn't have a choice.
Okay. Well, I also want to thank you so much for allowing us to see your beautiful two spirits. We can see them shining through. Thank you so much for presenting your information and who you are. And it's been a wonderful experience. Thank you for coming on. Appreciate you.
Yes.
I will see you on TikTok, and I'll see you at the powwow.
Oh, that would be fun. We'll dance. We'll definitely dance.
Ah, that
Okay,
sounds like a
all
good
right.
time.
Yes.
All right. Have a great night, sister, and I will see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Good night.
Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
Ooh.
Getting a chance to talk to Sister Navi Ho and get her perspective on the sisters, but also her own culture, and as learning more and more about her authentic self.
It was wonderful hearing all the information. I'm just wanting to get more now. I want more information, so I will be looking up the Facebook and just checking it out because I want more information now because of the Two Spirit and it being in more places than just one. Like I always felt that I knew when people ask me who I am, I say I'm just me. I don't label myself because I feel I'm on both sides, equally split, and whatever the occasion calls for, that's where I am. That's who I am at that moment. And so to hear it explained by Sister Navi Ho, wonderful, just wonderful to know that it exists, that she has found it exists in more places than just there and here.
Well, I think it's always really funny when people ask, it's like, oh, are you masculine or feminine? I'm like, well, I've changed my own transmission. I have put on a dress. So you figure out where I am on that masculine feminine scale.
Okay.
So,
that's exactly how I feel. I can change a tire in 5 minutes. I was an licensed electrician. And
oh, I didn't know you're a licensed electrician.
That was a previous life. When I was back in Pittsburgh, I became a licensed electrician. And I wore a dress. And I have a daughter. So there you go.
Indeed. Well, Bev, I love the fact that we've started doing this now as a podcast. Yeah. I think it's so nice to get a chance to find out more about you and just kind of, as we learn about everything a little bit more. Yeah. Tonight it was Sister Navi Ho about Two Spirit and the sisters. Last time was your nephew. This is gonna be a really fun kind of exploration into just our community.
I'm enjoying it. I am definitely enjoying it. I can't wait to find out who we're going to have next.
Indeed. I know I already got some ideas of who we should have, so it'll be kind of fun to see what all happens. So let's say good night and let's see. Okay, so people can track us down if they would like. You can reach us on Facebook under AZ Gay History. Instagram is also AZ Gay History. If you throw me an email, I will definitely share it with Doc Bev. And we can, maybe you've got ideas about who should be on this show, sharing a slice of our community history. So that's what this is all about. It's just trying to share the love, the knowledge of who we are, where we've come from, and where are we going.
Love it. Thank you.
Indeed, Bev. Have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you soon.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Bye.